Gilda, 9/11.
Oh,
Tough day after
it,
yesterday and now
oh,
this. Go figure.
this has been a very tough week for me personally because I'm an empath and I am very sensitive to all the things around me. First, it was the stabbing of this Ukrainian beautiful woman who was doing nothing. Then came the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Then today is the memorial of 9/11, and I was there. I was in New York at the time. I was not down at 9/11. I was in the East 60s at that time. And people were so crazed, but so crazed. I mean, I was highly recognizable in the streets of New York for all my television work. And some woman screamed out, "Doctor, doctor, please do something," as though I could do something about these planes going into the Trade Center buildings. We were all crazed. And then I got a phone call when I finally did get home. Oh, let me tell you what I kissed the floor, the ground that I was on. I said, "Oh, thank you." It took me, I was living in a suburb of New York at the time, and it took me about 3.5 to 4 hours to get home, which would have been only 20-minute drive from Manhattan, where I was. The traffic was bumper to bumper. You could not move. And I was in a car. I was so grateful to be home. But then I got a phone call the next day. And understand, I was still shaken and I had not grieved. And, we really should grieve things before we try to move on, whether it's happy things or very sad things. I mean, we should allow those experiences to have some space to breathe. And I didn't. I got a phone call from a producer and he said, "We need you." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "We're going to do a movie with a family from Staten Island, and they lost this little kid lost his mother in the World Trade Center bombing. The kid was 7 years old." And I said, I have to turn this down. I can't do this. I have not grieved myself. I had no idea that he was so pushy, pushy, pushy. Excuse me. I'm just very,
Yeah.
I'm just so emotional about this. He was pushy, and I said, "No, I can't do this movie." He said, "We're doing this movie." And well, he was so pushy, and I was so just exhausted from everything. I said, "Okay." And this was over a couple of days. I said, "Okay." Well, the movie turned out there was a 7-year-old boy. He lost his mother in the World Trade Center, but just like everybody's relationships, the mother and the father was separated. The father had no longer been part of the little boy's life because he was out of the house.
Hmm.
Now, suddenly, we had to call him back in to
Hmm.
say, the child has no mother, and this child is going to have to live with you. And he wasn't a custodial parent, he didn't know what he was doing. And he was going through the grief of the separation and the eventual divorce of his marriage. And also, here he's saddled with a 7-year-old who kept saying, "But I want mommy back. But I want," oh my God, that could have killed me. And I was there to soften all of the craziness that was going on. The movie was picked up by HBO. We won an Emmy for it, and it is called Telling Nicholas. I cannot watch the movie anymore. I have been in touch with the family. The little 7-year-old boy eventually grew up and attempted suicide a couple of times. He's fine now, his father says. His father has since gone on and somehow brought the pieces to his splintered life together. And he's now married, remarried, and he has a couple of babies. And we talk often. We're on Facebook together. And I'm glad that I'm still in touch with him. I haven't been in touch. I haven't spoken to Nicholas. Um, but the father assures me he's doing well. This was such a trauma for me. And I already suffer from PTSD from other incidents in my life. And I mean, this took every amount of courage for me to get out there and do this movie. But it was well received, and I hope I made a difference in a lot of people's lives to just come together after this horrible ordeal. New York was a mess, but it was also a place suddenly, because in New York, everybody is, we rush, rush, rush. If somebody has a heart attack on the street, they could stomp right over you just to get to their next appointment. That's how rushed and callous people are in a capitalistic kind of world where money, money, money is the most important force. And suddenly, New York became a love center. People were greeting each other on the streets. People were very kind to each other. You saw people saying, "Hi, how are you?" Just passing each other on the streets. And we were neighborly again. It did not last, but I saw a glimpse of New York that I had not seen ever before. And it was beautiful. And that's how we all try to come together and heal. But today is the day of this memory for me and for many other people, of course. But I remember every bit of this and how exhausted it was, how exhausting it was, and how much effort we put into healing our lives. And everybody's life has marriages, divorces, births, chaos, hospitalizations, scary thoughts about going into a situation that's fearful. And with that, we were all interrupted with those planes going into the buildings.
Mm.
It's something I will never forget. And I thank you all for hearing this story and remembering with me after all these other horrible things in the news. Please, please let us all come together. I go back to Sun Tzu, as I always do. It's all about communication and not combat.
All right. That was the special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and the GildaGram Podcast. Go to drgilda.com.